Okay, welcome back to Market Sense. Just two or three MNCs that I want to show. I think they've done very well today and over the last few days. Well, Granules India is not essentially necessarily in the same bracket as maybe a Novartis or a Schneider, but just look at some of these stocks. They're doing extremely well. Granules India up 10%, Schneider Electric, Hitachi Home, Novartis in today's session in particular, volumes at 5 or 6 times the 5-day average. So doing very well for itself. So watch out for some of these names. Okay, let's go across to the management, which has been extremely buoyant. All cargo up 5% today, up 10% yesterday, up 10% day before yesterday. Logistics in a great space. Mr. Surya Narayanan, who is the Group CFO of All Cargo Global Logistics, joins us right now on the show. Good having you, sir. Thanks so much for joining in. Now, why this excitement for logistics as a space? Is business looking extremely buoyant, and are the hopes high for the next 12 to 24 months as far as business goes?
For us, both at a global level, we are growing in our international business, and in India over the last 2 months we have seen the pickup. And if you have realized, last year our asset utilizations were quite low, but in the last 2 months of the current financial year it all has started to pick up. So at an overall level, growth is coming back, margins are slowly improving, and hence all of this starts adding to the bottom line.
And just taking a look at your numbers, since we've been talking about an improvements in performance, and for FY14, though the profits have seen a little bit of a decline and margins have contracted, take us through what we can expect in terms of your margin picture going forward, as well as on the bottom line front, given that you are seeing quite a bit of an uptick internationally as well.
Yeah, the way I would put it across is we are seeing healthy growth both in the international markets and also in our own growth in the last 2 months, and especially with the asset utilizations improving. So therefore, without adding anything else into the CapEx program, there is enough room there for us to grow. So the entire focus has been as to how to improve the asset utilizations, thereby improve our ROCE, and ultimately all of this has a much improved impact on the bottom line. All I can say is if this momentum were to continue, we should see quite a healthy growth with the profit after tax levels.
Tell us, sir, what's the focus for the next 12 months? You mentioned about ROCE improvement, so on and so forth. But the market seems to be believing that the next 12 to 24 months will be the 2 years for logistic companies at large, and top line growth will be substantially higher than what anybody envisages right now. One, could that happen? And two, if that happens, would the commensurate growth on the bottom line be much larger because of your focus on ROCE, as you mentioned?
See, basically, if you look at our business, we are leaders in each of the segments that we are operating in. So in our global LCL business, we are seeing growth, and at this point of time we are growing at about 8 to 10% internationally. So that itself has some impact on the way the overall business is growing. And then on the India side of the business, where last year it was quite subdued, but over the last 2 months we are seeing a growth coming back there, and also some of our assets that were idle last year, now as these assets are being put into use. So overall there has been a healthy growth coming back in, and I think this momentum over the next 12 to 24 months, if the economy were to further pick up, would only go better.
You mentioned about the international business. The domestic business would be dependent on the economy, and I think the ICD operations for you as a company. What kind of run rate do you expect there?
No, the run rates are both in, if you really look at our CFS business, last year we were quite low, but already we are seeing in the first 2 months at least 10 to 15% growth over last year. So all of these, plus with our asset utilizations, will automatically add into the bottom line without much happening at an capex level. So therefore, the entire focus has been how do we improve our asset levels. The CFS businesses have started picking up. So overall, even though the port volumes have not gone up, our market share is slowly climbing up. We are getting back to market volumes. So all of this put together gives us that belief that we should grow well in the next 12 to 24 months.
Mr. Surya Narayanan, just wanted you to clarify for us, the total debt we understand is standing at close to 1,000 crores. What are your plans to offset debt?
I think if you look at our balance sheet, even though our debt is at about 1,000 crores at a consolidated level, at a gross debt to equity we are at about 0.55. At a net debt level we are at about 0.39. So there is enough strength and resilience in the balance sheet itself. And plus with cash flows being generated at a consolidated level, we would use the cash flows to repay the debt, and it would continue to come down. So I think over the next 24 months you will see the debt will come down quite substantially.
Are you expanding capacity in any of the businesses on the domestic level because of the new government coming in, the buoyancy in infrastructure and logistics, so on and so forth? And two, would you need to raise funds via the equity route anytime in the next 6 months?
Immediately we don't have to expand our capexes.
All right. Okay. So no immediate capacity expansion in place is what he's saying, and I reckon from what he was trying to say that probably no kind of equity fundraising too. Okay, we do have him. And what about the equity fundraising bit, sir?
No, immediately we don't see any funds that would be required for us to expand our equity base, or are there any projects immediately on hand that would require this type of an equity infusion?
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining in and giving us that perspective, and all the best for the next 12 to 24 months. That's all cargo. International business is improving. The domestic business, they are saying, will probably grow better than what they've done in the last year. Logistic companies or logistics are anyways a hot space. This stock particularly, so the last 3 days it's been on a circuit. So up close to 5% today, up 10% yesterday, 10% day before yesterday. All cargo has been in a sweet spot for sure. Okay, we showed some flashes for NHPC. They're seeing a price volume breakout as well, up close to 3%, 27. It's indeed a powerful rally today.
Yeah, it is. Individual stocks just holding out, and that